In this program, we're going to look at a simple selection construct that I've created already. The program was fairly simple. You had to get a mark out of 100, and once you got the mark out of 100, you then had to display what grade they've got. So what I've done is I've created the program straight away using nothing but if statements. So you'll see what it says is, here's the input. So print please enter your mark. We get the input in, we store it in mark. We then check to see if the mark is greater than 75. If it is, they get an A. 60, they get a B. 50, they get a C. 65, sorry, get a C for 50. Greater than 45, they get a D. And if it's less than 45, they fail. And then finally, we have the output at the end where we print your mark earned you a grade. So there's no syntax errors in this program, but we're going to have a look. We're going to test it and see if it works. So let's start it off. Let's see what happens if I get 20. Nice, failed. Let's see what happens if I get 48. Good, got a D. Okay, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's see what happens if I get 55. I get a D, but that's not right because I'm sure it says if I get more than 50, I get a C. That's a bit odd. Let's run it again. And we'll do you know what? Let's do really well in this test. Let's get 90. I get a D. So, something obviously wrong with the program. We know it's not a syntax error because we're able to run the program. It doesn't seem to be a runtime error because it's not crashing. It's taking the input okay, so it must be a logical error. And the logical error in this program is how it actually works. Now, some of you will be sitting giving but if we just do all the if statements the other way around, so we put the check for the fail first, and then the check for the D, and the check for the C, and the check for the B, and the check for the E, then it will work. And you know what? That is certainly a solution, where what you're doing is you're checking, but it's not an efficient solution to this program. The problem is this. In the case if I get 90, then this resolves to true, which means the grade is set to A. Well, that's what we wanted. But then it does line 9, which is also true, which means the grade is set to B. So it's overwritten with a B, and that's not what we wanted. Then the same thing happens for the grade C, and the same thing happens for grade D, and it's only when we get down to line 15 that this is no longer true, so grade doesn't get set to fail, and as a result, the whole thing is set to D, which isn't right. Now, if we made that so the if statements were that way up, then yeah, you're right, it would work. It's above 45, it'll give it a D, then it's above 50, I'll give it a C, then it's above 60 and you get a B, and oh, it's above 75, we get an A. But it's a terribly inefficient way of doing it. Instead, what we want to do is we want to make use of an else if, which in Python is called ELF. And all the ELF does is makes this one if statement, not lots of other if statements. Okay, so when this runs, if this is true, grade will be A, and it'll then exit on to line 17 in the program. If grade is B, then this is true, it exits out. So it doesn't actually go through the rest of the program, which makes it far more efficient, as well as fixing it. So let me prove it to you. So we run the program. We're going to enter 90, earned as an A. We're going to enter 67. At least we will when my computer lets me. 67, which gives me a B. Let's get bang on 50, which should be a C. 50, which is a C. Let's get bang on 45, which should be a D. Perfect. And let's see what happens if we turn up and we only manage to score 20 in the day. Anytime you're ready, thank you very much. Gets us a fail. Okay, so this is a more efficient code than what we started off with because we've made use of the ELF. We don't actually have to put this in here because we could simply say else. right? Because if you've not got an A, B, C, or D, then you must have failed. That's how it works. Okay, and again, I can prove that to you by running it. And if I put in something like 20, we get a fail. Okay, so this is an efficient coding structure, and it's also how we would make use of an if, ELF, or else.